Okay. Uh, Good evening or good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Complete Sports Media's podcast. I'm your host, Darren Campbell. And of course, joining me on a holiday Monday, Jason Cameron. Happy Victoria Day. Long weekends don't mean as much when you don't have to go to work every day, but still nice that we get a long weekend and everybody else does too.
Yes, it is, and I forgot that it was a long weekend. I honestly did, because what are we doing right now? Sleep in every day. Like, it's actually literally a continually long weekend from when I last stopped working. So it's always a long weekend. So anyway,
Nice.
but it's cool that everybody else gets a long weekend. It's needed.
Yeah. So you had you make me laugh because you cook as much as I do, which is never. You decided to do some cooking this weekend, and you had a mishap, I hear.
Yeah, I'm an idiot. So basically what happened was I was kicking, some stew, soup, whatever it was. And I went to grab the pot and I burned myself. And I dropped the pot onto the countertop, burning the countertop.
Oh, shit.
And then the soup spilled on me. So now I'm burning. And I'm like, ah! I tossed the pot into the sink. And there goes my dinner. And I'm like, why did I even try? Like, that was what I took away from that. My first initial thought was to buy food, like to go out and grab it. But then I thought, no, Jason, you have time and you should cook. And then I ended up burning myself. So what I took away from that is, today I'm just going to do the right thing. I'm going to go out there and go buy my food.
Nice. Yeah. Do you do the guys that deliver food in your local neighborhood? Do they know you by name? Do they say, "Hey, Jason, the usual," and just hand you the food?
Now, here's the funny thing about Uber Eats, is that's my go-to. They're always different. They're
Really?
always different. Like, no, I'm actually surprised. They're always different. Like, I never know who's going to show up. It's all walks of life. I remember last time I ordered, a grandmother showed up.
Oh.
And I felt bad because she has to walk upstairs. You don't have an elevator here. And I was just like, oh, thank you. She's like, oh, okay, son, here you go. And I'm like, everybody does this job. This is nice.
That's amazing. Wow, grandmother. Wow. Yeah, I wouldn't expect that. And like you say, all walks of life. Very funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember 2.5 Men watching that show, and Charlie Sheen. There was a recurring guy that always dropped off food for him on, "Hey, Mr. Harper," and they knew each other and they chatted, and he ended up hanging out once in a while and became kind of a regular character because Charlie just ate out almost every single meal, so it was pretty funny and always made me think of you. I remember bringing over food one night to your place, and you're like, "Oh, I don't even know if the oven works. I don't think I've turned it on in a few years. So let's just order pizza." That made me laugh. And yeah, I'm in the same boat. I think one of the things is because we've been so spoiled in film that, we've got fed for so many years of our lives that it just becomes a thing once you're off of work. You're like, I have to actually figure out how to cook again and get food and stuff. Nah, I'm just gonna order out.
Yeah, exactly, right. Like, and for those of the audience that doesn't know, there's a reason why we're still off from work, because there's a writer's strike on.
Yeah,
and that writer's strike, as a friend of mine has detailed to me, this could take a bit, because of the issues that are on the table, and especially the one that I didn't even consider. I never considered the one issue, which was the AI issue for the writer.
Okay.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah. But if you consider that, it's a real issue for the writers, man. It's a really big. That's probably the biggest issue out of all. That might be the biggest issue out of all the issues that they have.
Yeah. Well, I like that they are fighting to get residuals.
Yes, something I didn't know
I
either.
I was actually pretty shocked that no writers have got that before, because that's got to suck to just do a show and it becomes so massive that it starts being shown in syndication all over, and you get no credit for that. You just got to move on to the next one, on to the next one. It seems ridiculous, and
Yeah, absolutely.
there's only a select few that get that. I think that the writers deserve that as much as anybody does.
Oh yeah, because that's their material. Without them creating the concept, you have nothing to film,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah,
it makes perfect sense to me. But I think those two things that you mentioned and I mentioned, those are going to be real sticking points in this
yeah,
whole thing. There's going to have to be give and take on both those issues, or else nothing is literally ever going to happen. And I
yeah.
don't know how this is going to end up, but it's those are two big sticking points, man. Big.
Definitely, yeah. I Once I started thinking about the residuals and stuff, I'm like, why doesn't our department get residuals? Why doesn't it start to trickle all the way down? And I could see a lot of people actually putting a lot more into their jobs, really, really working extra hard. If know that if you put out a great product and people love it, you're going to see money coming in for you down the road. It seems pretty crazy that it's just only for a very, very select few.
Yes, it is, and I remember that from Supernatural, like when it started winning awards and everything else. From what I've heard from the crew members, is that like the upper echelon, like the people that are in positions where they run the departments, some of those people, like including the production manager, I'm trying to word this right. I think they got producer credits or they got either raises because of the show's success,
Wow.
right?
Wow.
Which
Yeah.
is the right thing to do, because
Sure.
if you have a show that's been on for 15 years and you have rabid fans, and literally the show could have gone on for 20, then yes, that people should be rewarded for that because of the fact that the show is so wildly successful. That's
Yeah.
what makes sense.
Yeah. Geez, I'm shocked that it has been this way, and it's good that we have unions. It's good that we have the capability of having strikes and the capability of negotiating contracts and stuff. I haven't been very impressed with a lot of the union stuff since I've been in this union. I think we sort of bend over backwards a little too much to allow them to do whatever they want to do. They keep coming north of the border, and I think even if we get paid a little bit more here, a little bit more there, I think they still come. I think people are worried that if we up the stakes too much for the crew, that we're not going to see these productions come north of the border here. But I think that's still not the case. And I think we should have the same standards as California has. Hollywood, our standards should be the same. And it's crazy to think that in Ontario, they're getting paid way, way more than we are out here. Our cost of living is just as high and just as
Higher.
tough, and even maybe higher. And it's something that I really like about the union, is that we can fight for our rights and try to get more than what we deserve. And I'm not sad that the writers are on strike. I'm happy for them.
Absolutely not.
It'll be tough though if a lot of people have to go without paychecks for many, many, many months. 6 months or more or something like that. It's going to be hard for a lot of people, especially family people.
Of course, yeah. Then that's the part that sucks. But I do agree with the strike. It has to happen. As far as I'm concerned, it has to happen, man. Like you got to fight for what you deserve, right? Which is sometimes I believe our union doesn't fight hard enough.
No.
We fight up to a certain point, and then that's it, right?
Yeah.
But for this one, I think it's kind of like drawing a line in the sand, saying, "All right, well, enough's enough. This is what it is," and it's going to be one heck of a fight because, like I said, the residuals thing, and then the AI thing, and I think the AI thing, it can be sneakily underestimated. I think that's super important, man. It's like super important.
I've dabbled into AI stuff a little bit, and it's pretty shocking. Sometimes it's like, oh man, this computer doesn't get it, doesn't understand what I'm kind of looking for. But on other occasions, I'm just like,
Well,
really?
wow.
It wrote all that? It did that much? Just from a small little suggestion,
Yeah.
boom, it could write chapters and different things on a book, or on a suggestion. It's scary, and I'm glad that they're thinking of it already where it's sort of in its infancy right now,
Yes.
instead of where, it's already part of the mainstream of people's lives, and it's too late.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Like even for, let's say this, if like you're a professional writer for like a newspaper and stuff, and you're under the gun, you're just like, the hell with it. I'll just, oh, I'm done. Right on. Now I can go drink with the boys. So
Yeah.
like the AI thing is definitely, it's on the cusp of changing everything.
Yeah.
Like it really is. Like we're on the cusp of a lot of things are going to change because of this thing. Like a lot.
Yeah. Well, newspapers are already on their way out.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, print media is a dying
Right.
business, and it's tough. But if you can't read, if you're reading stuff on a daily basis and you don't know that it's coming from a human being, I think it's a little scary. It's a little bit. I don't know. I don't want a world where I got to question every single article I read if
Mhm.
it's actually coming from a real live person or just an AI.
Yeah, because like that's already even happening. Like I've told you before, my trials and tribulations with dating apps and how sometimes they're just bots.
Yeah.
Now imagine if that bot is actually has an AI like component to it. So now it's super smart. Now I think I'm actually talking to a real human being, and
Yeah.
it's not at all. Like a
Jeez.
lot of problems start sneaking
Wow.
in. Right?
That's an extra level of catfishing that I don't think a lot of people started considering until
Yeah.
recently. That's incredible, hey? Wow.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's a little bit scary because, like I love reading books, but I've always thought that part of a component to a book is the heart of the writer. There's like a little
Yeah.
bit of soul in there. But if you take that away, would I still notice that? Would I notice that it's missing something?
Yeah.
I no. I like
Wow.
honestly, I don't know.
Yeah. Unbelievable. Yeah. I love reading books too. And yeah, I do love that human element of it, and knowing that, sometimes I get to know the writer. I really want to follow,
Yeah.
more of what they've written, read other books that they've written before. So, it tunes me into it. And yeah, to lose that, yeah, it's a scary world. And yeah, don't, it's probably a discussion, long-term
We
discussion
can
for
talk
another
about
day.
it.
So
Yes. Yes. Yes.
let's get on to the normal thing we talk about, which is sports over the weekend and doing sort of a breakdown of it. I do want to dedicate this podcast to somebody that I have always held as a special person in the world. I want to dedicate this podcast to Jim Brown, who passed away the other day. I think this is a guy that emerged into the NFL, became a Hall of Famer in a very short career, was one of the greatest football players of all time. But after leaving football, was really able to be instrumental in the civil rights activism world. Became a great actor, became one of the very preeminent African American black actors of his time, and also was the very first color commentator on the UFC. UFC 1 goes back as the guy that was in the chair that Joe Rogan holds now. Pretty amazing and cool that he was able to be there, in such a prominent role in so many areas of his life. And I'd really love to have you share your thoughts on Jim Brown.
He was just he's a great man. He's a great human being. Like there's just such a great human being. There's so many like stories about him, like little stories that you don't know. Like for instance, this just popped in my head. I think it was the movie Friday Night Lights with Al Pacino was in there, LL Cool J, Jamie Foxx.
Right.
So apparently LL Cool J and Jamie Foxx had beef on the set
Wow.
for one of the shooting scenes. And it got to a point where people were like, I don't know if this movie's going to get filmed. Like, I don't know if it's going to get finished. It was big time. It was big time beef between these two actors. Jim Brown was the one that stepped in and brought them together and said, yeah, man up. We got to finish this movie because it's significant for us in our culture.
Got to do it. Wow.
Got to get it done. And he did that. Make sure that the movie was done and finished. Yeah. Just one of the small things. I always remember that story, and I'm like, well, if you're going to respect somebody, you're definitely going to respect Jim Brown.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah, when he comes in the mix, you're going to be like, okay, yes, sir, Mr. Brown. Whatever you say, sir. You're not going to be arguing with him very long if you want to be still awake. Exactly. Tough guy. I always love seeing that picture of him at the Cleveland Summit that he put together with Muhammad Ali, Bill Russell, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Just amazing to know that all those icons of their sport were able to come together and really try to further the civil rights movement and try to get a lot of things just right. Just try to make sure that things would be right eventually. And he's the guy that put that together in Cleveland, where he was a Cleveland Brown. And that picture, I would actually love to have that picture up behind me, because every time I see it, I just think, holy cow, like, look at the icons that were all together there in that day.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. It's amazing that those guys with that kind of significance were able to come together and fight for their rights, and Jim Brown being instrumental in that. And the other thing I want to say too is this. It's super impressive that Jim Brown lived as long as he did from being a former NFL player. Because as we know, unfortunately, because of the violence of the sport, those guys don't live long. So I'm just happy that he had such a long-lived life and such a successful career in whatever his endeavors were. And the fact that, he fought for civil rights, and he fought for it the right way. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was an amazing life. It's great that he utilized his famous platform to further so many great things, and it really just gave back. And anybody that didn't see UFC 1, try to find it and watch. It was great to see him contributing to my favorite sport, and the sport that Jason and I watch every weekend and break down. Kind of incredible that he was asked to be on that, and was such a influential guy in that sport that's only been around 30 years.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm glad you mentioned that. I forgot. I forgot that he did do that, and you are absolutely correct. And it's cool that he was even a part of that fledgling process of the UFC growing into what it is today.
Yeah, totally. I know that our friend Barry Grant Jr., he does Dummy of the Week, and it's pretty funny. He usually finds quite the amazing story and character that's Dummy of the Week. But I want to do Hero of the Week. I've done it on a few occasions. I should do it, every episode, and we got to get a sponsor for it and that kind of thing. It would be great. But definitely Jim Brown, Hero of the Week. I'm going to put a couple other names in there, maybe just one notch below Jim Brown. Jimmy freaking Butler has become, one of my heroes of the week, of the month, of the year. Just absolutely incredible to watch what he's done and being able to elevate Miami to the cusp of the NBA final again. And just so fun to witness what he's doing. One of the greatest playoff performances we've ever witnessed in our lives.
Yeah, definitely. So I totally agree with you on that. And the fact of the matter is, he loves his teammates, and he gives them space to be great as well, which is what he did in the last game against the Celtics. He didn't even need to step up. He was just like, all right, I'll just distribute to everybody else, and everybody else can just be great. Then they most certainly were, especially Gabe Vincent. I believe he only missed like 3 shots in that entire game. 3 or 4 shots, and that's it. Finished with 29 points. Like he shot the lights out, man. And yeah, he was like the whole Heat team was utterly fantastic. And total opposite of what happened with the Celtics.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, totally. I do want to break it down in a little more detail in a few minutes because I have a few more things to talk about. But I'm glad you touched on it so far a little bit. That game yesterday was just a complete blowout, and it was crazy. Shocking that the Celtics, that storied franchise, second best team this season, coming into this playoffs and going on a run, you really thought they would step up and have an amazing game, and they just laid an absolute egg and were completely blown out. It was bad, but I want to cover that in a few minutes. I love Jimmy Butler so much that I went online. I posted some shirts, so I'm going to put them up for sale. Anybody that's basketball fans, please purchase, and let's get the Jimmy freaking Butler thing going. This is gonna be fun to have all over. I want to see this all over North America, all over the world. Let's put them up.
Oh, that's kind of cool. That's kind of nice.
And so, yeah, I'll post the link on our website. And if you want a Jimmy freaking Butler t-shirt, it's going to be yours, shipped out. I think the shipping only takes 3 to 5 business days type of thing. So you might be able to get it before the finals even start.
Oh, yeah, man. That's pretty cool. I like that. Very, 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 very much to the point because, yeah, he's been absolutely amazing. Had an amazing run so far.
Yeah. Oh, it's been so fun to watch and witness. Yeah. Okay. Okay. We talked about Jim Brown. We talked about Jimmy Butler, but I think the guy that actually stole the entire weekend is a guy named Michael Block. Did you hear about this guy this weekend? Did Michael Block enter into your stratosphere?
Not what I thought you were going to say. So nope. No.
Okay. Well, this is something that a lot of us that aspired to be in the professional sporting ranks. This is a guy that would have been the same as you, just getting asked this weekend to play in the NBA final. You get a chance to play in the NBA final. I get a chance to play in the World Series or Super Bowl. This is the one of the top golfing tournaments of the year, and this guy, he's a PGA pro that plays at a course. So every golf course has a pro. They have a guy that just is there. He usually gives lessons, can really represent the course well. Every year, about 20 guys have to qualify and try to get into the major championship in golf called the PGA Championship. This guy ended up qualifying, getting an opportunity, and all of a sudden he started playing great. And he was like just playing out of his mind. It was like a Tim Cup moment where you're just like, whoa, what's going on? Usually these guys finish, in the bottom half of the group because they're not playing against the competition every day. They're not playing out there on these types of tough courses. This guy has an amazing weekend, amazing couple of days, and he makes the cut. And none of the other PGA pros made the cut. So this guy gets an opportunity, and they say, yeah, okay, you're in. You got an opportunity to play. He keeps playing well. He's playing super good enough. He ends up getting paired with Rory McIlroy in the final round. and he's got a chance to make the top 10 of this tournament. And everybody's like, holy cow. And you start seeing the crowd just gather around this guy. He becomes this folk hero. It's just incredible. Everybody's cheering on the guy. The crowds are getting bigger and bigger and bigger. He steps up to the 15th hole, and he takes a 7-iron out, and he hits a beautiful shot. And you see it going up in the air, going up, and then it comes down. It doesn't even bounce. It goes directly into the hole for a hole-in-one. It doesn't hit the grass at all. It goes right in the cup. And he lost sight of it somehow and didn't see it actually go in. And he's like, everybody starts cheering and roaring. He thinks, oh, good, I got it close. And all of a sudden, Rory McIlroy comes over and high fives him and hugs him. And he's like, hey, what's Rory hugging me for getting it close? It's kind of weird. And then he's like, did it go in? And then Rory's like, it went right in. And he's like, no way. And he's like, yeah, no way. And he can't even believe it. And he's walking up the fairway, and people are just going maniac-wise. They're jumping around, cheering. This is like, just a regular guy. This is like I said, you going to the NBA final and playing for Miami against Denver coming up this week. And this guy ends up having to get some really nice scores in the last 2 holes to actually qualify for next year's tournament. And he hits a really, really bad shot on 18th fairway, or off 18th tee, hits it off into the crowd. And there's this massive crowd that he has to enter into and try to get them to move apart, give him a shot. Makes a beautiful shot, lands it on the green. He has about a 8-10 footer he has to hit to make a par and qualify for next year, and he nails it. And he gets it, and it is just bananas around the 18th green, and just the amazing amount of conversations that he had with the reporters after, and he ends up getting a call from the tournament that's playing this week, and he gets an exemption into this tournament that plays this week. He gets an opportunity to play in the Canadian Open that's coming up in a couple of weeks. He gets an opportunity to play next year, and he makes $300,000 for what he did in this tournament. It was one of the coolest moments I've ever seen in sports. It was so fun. It was amazing. I could see reporters wiping tears out of their eyes. I could see the crowd doing the same thing. Everybody got it on camera and on video. It was cool, man. It was one of my favorite sporting moments I've ever seen in my life.
That is actually pretty wicked. That's pretty awesome. I thought actually what you were going to say next is then he gets a phone call from the Live golf tournament saying, hey, man, you want to make some real money?
I can see it coming. This guy is so popular right now. I can see phone calls coming from the president. I can see calls coming from places all over. Liv will probably hand him a big bag of money. This guy's life changed. They showed a video of his home golf course, the clubhouse there, and a huge amount of people gathered. And you just saw when he hit that hole in one, somebody panned it. Just the people were jumping around, cheering and stuff. And the woman that showed him the video said, "This was sent from your son. Your son is at the golf club watching this, and he took the video and sent it to us." And he said, "Dad, this is the greatest day of my life." And this guy said, "This is the greatest week of my life. This is the greatest day of my life." He goes, "There's no way it gets any better than this. This is the top. This is the pinnacle. Never gonna have another better day." And it was, it was very cool. I recommend anybody that's watching, listening, find Michael Block online. Try to look on YouTube or somewhere and see some of the incredible videos that were captured. This was a moment that I think I'll remember forever. It was very, very special.
Yeah, no, that's just amazing. It's just like your everyday man just walks in with the pros and just says, yeah, you know what? I don't think it's that hard.
Right. Yeah. This happened. This kind of happened years ago. John Daly, he was the seventh alternate on the list to get into this tour. That meant 6 guys had to pull out for whatever reason. And late the night before that he was supposed to, the tournament was supposed to start, he gets a call and they say, "Hey, you're in." The 6th guy just pulled out, or 7th guy pulled out, whatever number it was. Can you make it here? And he's like, "Oh yeah." And he just grabbed his golf bag, threw it in his trunk, and just started driving to the course. And it was something crazy, like 10, 12-hour drive. And he drove to the course, got ready, and he won the tournament. And it was like, holy cow, what just happened here? Who is this guy? And he was a beer drinking, cigar smoking, kind of chubby guy, mullet, and he just blasted the ball into the stratosphere, and he wins the tournament and changed his whole entire life. This was kind of on the same level. John Daly was already a pro and had played professional tournaments like this. I think this guy has played a few pro tournaments over the years, but he said he plays about 1 bucket of balls a week. He'll go onto the range and shoot a bucket of balls. He doesn't even really play anymore. He teaches kids, teaches people at the course. And, it was a Tin Cup type of moment too. You remember seeing Tin Cup? You saw that movie before?
Yeah, I have. It's been a long time ago, but yes, it's kind of like one of those moments in your life where you're just like, I can't lose. I'm actually on fire.
Yeah.
And there's nothing going to get me off fire. Like, I'm just going to stay like this.
Yeah. I know. Super cool. It brought up a couple of friends of mine, memories of some friends of mine. One day I get a call. There's a professional beach volleyball tournament that happens just down the road from here every summer. And a friend of mine said he really wanted to try to qualify for it. So there was some qualifying early on the weekend morning. So he said, "Hey, can you come down and watch?" So I go down there, and he wins the whole qualifying, and he makes it into the tournament. And he's like, this is like Wayne Gretzky. Like, I'm like, playing against guys like Wayne Gretzky in the volleyball world. Like, you can't believe how much of a huge thing this is for me. I thought it was super cool because him and I had played together a bit over the years, and he was really good. But to actually go up against the pros and have an opportunity, it was super cool moment for him.
No, obviously. Like, anytime that you get an opportunity like that, and then you just hit it out of the park, like, that's just it's time for everybody to celebrate. Like, it's an amazing achievement.
It happens in hockey a bit over the last few years. They have this emergency backup goaltender they have in case your main guy gets hurt. Your second guy, has to be the backup, and you can't get your third guy in the mix. So they usually reach out to like UBC, and they have to get the third string goalie from UBC because the guys that are on scholarship would lose their scholarship if they played for the Canucks, let's say.
Right.
So that's happened with the Canucks. It's happened with a few teams over the years. And this guy just comes and has to play and gets in there. Sometimes they just end up sitting on the bench, but there's been times, even the last couple seasons, where a guy actually appears in the game and, wins the game and stuff and, goes down in history forever.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, man. Like, and then that's just, it's something you'll never forget. It's something that just stays with you. You'll never forget. It's like, it's one of those crowning achievements in your life.
Yeah. So cool. Yeah. Incredible. Yeah. So that was my big highlight of the weekend for sure. Seeing Michael Block do what he did, and Brooks Koepka won the PGA Championship. He had defected to Live Golf about a year ago, kind of thing. And so there's been such a big fight between the PGA Tour and Live. And I'd like to see guys that made that decision have success. And good to see Brooks do that. This is his 5th major, but he had a 4-year drought between the 4th and the 5th. And he went through some super tough injuries, had to have surgery, was really on the downslide of his career, it looked like. And Went to live, played here and there, played okay, but just really didn't look like he was the guy that had won these majors before. And then he comes in and he wins this. And anybody that's pro live was super happy about this. The PGA Tour people, not so much, but good to see a guy resurrect his career and get a victory.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I didn't know, actually. You just cleared something up for me. I didn't know you could go back and forth between the two. I had no idea.
You're not. No, you're not able to. But the PGA Tour Championship is considered a major, and it's outside of the PGA Tour. Sort of jurisdiction. These majors are separate, so the live guys can play on these majors as long as they've qualified for before, and he qualifies because he is a former winner.
Okay, got it. Because I wasn't sure, because I'm like, I thought there was a contract stipulated. It's like, no, you can only do this and you can only do this, but the majors are different, which is kind of funny, because then the live guys are just like, oh, I get the double dip.
Yeah. Usually, you can qualify for, if you won, you get an exemption for years and years. Some of them for life. But if you, it usually comes down to golf rankings, world golf ranking points, and the world golf ranking system is not allowing live players to get any points. They say that there's certain rules that live golf has that is not under their jurisdiction. So they've been fighting to get these world golf ranking points, and a lot of live players will not qualify for the majors, but a guy like Koepka, because he's won a couple of times, he's exempt for, I don't know if it's life, but many, many, many years.
Okay. Well, good for Koepka. Good for Koepka.
Yeah.
Good win for him.
Yeah. I loved one exchange that happened too after Koepka won. They were following him back to the scorer's tent, and then he was going to go and get the trophy and stuff. And he stops by Michael Block and he gives him a hug, and he says to him, "Hey, I heard beers are on you." And because if you get a hole in one, you're supposed to buy everybody beers. And so the guy was like, "Oh yeah, thanks." And I think he was like, "Oh shit, I forgot about that part of it." And imagine how big the bar bill would have been. I don't think he got stiffed with it, luckily, but that's a weird thing about golf. You can get hole-in-one insurance. I don't know how much you got to pay for that, how much it works, but I don't think they made him pay for everybody's drink at the bar, luckily.
Well, yeah, because then it's like, there goes my 300,000. It goes, I spent it. It's gone.
Easy come, easy go. Yeah, I really wish I didn't hit that hole in one.
Yeah, it's like, it ruined me, but yes, it did.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay, now let's get into basketball talk. We are on the cusp of the conference finals, and it could be 2 sweeps that happened in the conference final. We're on the verge of the final, and it could be 2 sweeps. I don't remember 2 sweeps happening. I don't even know if it has happened. It might have. It probably has. But can you believe that these 2 series have gone this way? I did not expect it to be like this.
No, I definitely haven't expected to be like this. And by the way, it's never happened before.
Never happened.
It's never happened before.
Wow.
And then this year we could have them happen in both conferences for the first time. I didn't expect it to go like this. For me being purely selfish, I didn't want it to go like this, because that just means less basketball for me to watch.
Yeah,
so
that's no good. Yeah,
that's no good.
It's not
good. Okay, so where do you want to start? You want to start in the West, or you want to start in the East?
Well, why don't we start in the East, because that was the game yesterday. Miami, Boston, and you said it off the top. Bizarre. Boston doesn't show up. Miami just rips their heart out and blows this game out. We see bench warmers. We see guys on the court we haven't seen the entire playoffs. It was crazy bizarre. I did not expect Miami to be able to just make them quit. It looked like Boston quit this game, and it was absolute blowout. They were beating them by 30. I think it went up to about 32, 34 points at some crazy point. Like, this was not a close game. It was shocking how much of a blowout it was.
It was an absolute embarrassment coming from the Celtics. Like that's just embarrassing. Knowing that you have to do everything in your power to win this game, or else that's it. Series is over. That's what history's shown. 140-0 for any team down three games to 0.
Say that again. 0 and 140. 100, no, it's 149 actually. 149. Yeah.
Okay.
0 and 149. So it never happened in the history of this league.
So guess what? It's not happening this year either. All right.
Okay.
So
I was going to ask you that. I was going to say, can it happen? It's going to happen one day, but it's not going to happen this year.
No, hell no. Because like if the Celtics did that, right, and they just basically give up on themselves, and then also too, the other egregious thing was in the fourth quarter where basically Joe Mazzulla waves a white flag and puts in the second teamers right away. Like that, now you definitely don't have a chance to win the game. Game's over, right? Okay. And so I don't see the Celtics. Celtics can't come back and win 4 straight because, well, first off, they don't have the coach to do that. Because Eric Spoelstra, as far as I'm concerned, is probably the best coach at NBA. And it's showing right now. Like, it's super showing. Like, where he's just like, I'm just going to game plan. And you have no answers where you should have answers, but you have no answers. And then the fact that Tatum finishes the game with 14 points and Brown finishes the game with 12 points. That can't happen. That cannot happen. You can't have your 2 superstars finishing with a combined total of 26 damn points. All right? You just can't have that. You can't have
Gabe Vincent outscored them both combined. That is a recipe for disaster.
Yes, absolutely. Gabe Vincent outscored them himself with 29 points, and Duncan Robinson wasn't far behind. He had 22 points. All right? So like all the guys that were undrafted pretty much that play for the Heat, those are the guys that stepped up. You want to know why? Because when you're undrafted like that, you have a certain mental toughness that goes beyond like a lot of things.
Yeah.
That shows up when things matter most. And it sure did show up for these guys right now. It showed up actually this entire playoff run that the Heat have been on.
Yeah. Yeah. I know that, that's been highly talked about, and it's been just shown to be such an amazing thing that Miami's been able to have these undrafted guys. And you're undrafted. That's got to be a huge ego blow. It's got to be so tough on you and your family, and to just have that heart and desire and will, and just to continue to work and make the league. Just even making the league is just so elite and so tough. And then to be able to come in and make a difference. And I think a lot of these guys don't shine on other teams if they go to other organizations. I think Miami is the place that you can really shine as an undrafted player. I think it's because Jimmy Butler is an unselfish guy. He's a guy that doesn't need to hold the spotlight every game, doesn't need to always have the shots. He's very capable of, if he's getting double teamed, to kick it off to the open guy and let him shoot it and score. And a lot of these guys have been able to get minutes all year, been able to play prominent roles, and they're stepping up when the chips are down, and they're getting the ball in the hoop. And it's been great to watch, because this isn't about superstars. You got these 2 guys that everybody's been trying to clamor and to get. You're not getting that. You're just getting a very amazing star, and then you're getting a ton of role players that play really well together as a team.
Yeah, man. And it's reminiscent of the one run I keep referring to, because it's basically going the same way. It's going the same way with Dirk Nowitzki in 2011. He had a bunch of role players, and he played out of his mind, and then he won. It's like literally playing out right now as we speak for Jimmy Butler and his team. And I can't wait for him to move on to the next round, because as far as I'm concerned, they're making the finals now. You heard it here first, people. They're making the finals. Crazy.
Nice.
But
Yeah.
yeah, man, like I just look forward to what comes next for them. But the Celtics, I don't even know where to begin. I like if you give up like that, you just give up like that, and you get blown out by 30. I'm pretty sure I don't give them much of a chance to win the next game that they play. I
Yeah.
just don't, because I think they're already done.
Uh, you said Miami's making the final. Not breaking news there for sure, but it's you're right. I love that you keep referring to that 2011 run for Dallas and Dirk Nowitzki and what he did. This is the, there are a lot of graphics that I continuously see that compares Jimmy Butler and what he's doing and what this Miami Heat's team is doing, like 2011. There's a lot of great graphics and a lot of things, and I love seeing this graphic. I'll read off some of it.
Yeah.
This is the Miami Heat have the second best winning percentage as an underdog in NBA history. The only better team is the 94-95 Rockets that won 9 games out of 12 when they were the underdog. The Heat are 8-3 currently, and they'll probably be underdog going into the final too. So they win 1 game, they're tying this mark, and if they win 2, they're bettering it. And then the Mavericks, 7-3 as an underdog, 2010, 2011, and the Rockets. They only win that championship because Michael Jordan decided to go to baseball, and I don't think they win those 2 titles with Michael Jordan in his prime, because he won 3 before. Was gone for 2 years, won 3 after. So, the Rockets lucked out in a way and were able to get that championship. That's throwing no shade on Hakeem Olajuwon and all the guys that played for that team, Kenny Smith and everybody. But I think, they have a hard time winning the title when Jordan's there. But to see them right now currently as the second biggest underdog ever amassed, a pretty cool graphic, and I wanted to read that out today for sure.
Oh yeah, man, that's definitely cool to hear that, to know that, and to know that they've been that good. They've been that good. Although Eric Spoelstra has gone on record saying, like, okay, we've had to deal with some things during the regular season, but in his mind, he's always considered them at least like a 4 seed. And and I from seeing what they're doing right now, yeah, I can see that. But the fact of the matter is, they got in as an 8, and they've just been kicking ass ever since. So nice.
Well, the amazing thing is they were one of the worst teams in 3-point percentage in the regular season. They were one of the worst teams scoring wise. They were able to turn this around. In the playoffs, they're shooting 39% from 3. That leads the league by far. Would have led the league in the regular season. Their field goal percentage is up. Their scoring is up. Everything has just flourished and changed. They go from a very middling, not great regular season team to just being so dominant in the playoffs and just shocking the world. Really, I think people believed in that locker room. People believed around a little bit that saw this team, but not too many people had these guys going where they're going.
No, obviously not. And then on top of that, you take away Tyler Hero, who got injured with a broken hand and broken fingers, and that's a large part of your offense. Not there, not available. No. And they're still doing this.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah. That's incredible. Yeah. Jason Tatum, 6 for 18, 14 points. Jaylen Brown, 6 for 17, 12 points. Tatum was minus 23 and Brown was minus 25. And we wondered for a long time when this pairing started coming together and was able to get some steps. They made the NBA final last year against Golden State, and they had a really great regular season, and it seemed like this pairing was working. Why isn't it working right now in this series?
Okay, I think there's a couple things. Number one, I think Joe Mazzulla has been given too much too soon. I don't think he's ready to be in this pressure cooker of a playoff system right now. Like I think it's just a little too soon for him because he's not making the adjustments that like a coach that has some tenure and some experience would be making at this point in time, right? That's number one. Yeah. Number two, it just doesn't feel like they got the fight in them. Like it just doesn't feel like they want it enough. Like it's pretty clear to me that Jimmy Butler definitely wants it in the way he's been playing. But like, and you got that a little bit though from the 76ers, obviously with Tatum with this huge game 7, really stepped up, but that didn't carry over, or at least it didn't carry over enough with the team. And so, I always have this image of Al Horford in the huddle, trying to motivate these guys.
Yeah.
He's trying his damnedest to motivate these guys, but at the same time, it's like, why would you have to do that? You should be motivated. Damn playoffs. Yeah. Everything's on the line. Everything you've ever dreamed of is on the line. And so that's the one thing that's always stuck out to me. You see Al Horford in there, he's trying to get the guys engaged into the game. And I'm like, no, man, you shouldn't actually have to do that. You should already be engaged, be willing to fight out there.
Yeah. In the post-game press conference, Joe Mazzulla said, everything's on me. I didn't get them ready. I don't know why, but I put it on me. He tried to take the bullet for the team. And does he lose his job if they get swept here, even though they made the third round?
I think it's very possible. I think it's very, very possible and likely that he does, because of the fact that, you didn't make the right adjustments. You didn't do this. You didn't there's a lot of things that you can point to. End of the day, it's the players that actually have to do the job, right? Yeah. But at the same time, the coach is supposed to supplement that with like the key moves during the course of the game so that you give yourself the best chance to win. And I don't think he's really been doing that. And so maybe what the Celtics need is a more tenured coach in there to make sure that for like when they're in positions like this in the playoffs, that the right moves are being made.
Yeah. I thought Boston was wrong when they fired Ime Udoka. I was, I just thought, hey, everybody makes mistakes. They had obviously, something going on behind the scenes that they shouldn't have been, but that should have been a human resources matter handled. I thought it was a massive mistake getting rid of him after the success he had there. And then bringing in a rookie coach like Joe Mazzulla, I thought, this is going to bite them in the butt. And it didn't really seem to until this series. And it finally showed that Mazzulla's not ready. And you and I talked about it. And I said, huge advantage for Miami going into this series with Eric Spoelstra, probably the best coach in the NBA right now. And it's really reared its ugly head and shown that, these coaches do matter. And, some people don't believe that, but I think they do matter. And it's really been very evident in this one.
Yeah, because there's levels to this coaching game and you're seeing it. Where like Eric Spoelstra is just going just licking his lips going, wow, this is going to be so easy. Oh, I'm so excited because it's going to be so easy, right? Yeah. And at the same time, okay, I'm just going to step up for a second. Looking at the other side of the ledger on the Western Conference, Darvin Ham knows how to coach.
Right.
Because the Lakers have been in those games every single game.
Sure.
There hasn't been this thing where there's a 30-point blowout. Dude knows how to coach. Yep. Knows how to make adjustments. Joe Mazzulla hasn't shown that he has that in him yet. No. And I think that comes with more experience. Because we seem to forget the man's only 34 years old.
Yeah.
34.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's I think maybe why we did see Al Horford step in there, and he's older than him, so he was like, "Hurry up!" But you're right; it shouldn't take anybody to get anybody motivated at this level, and at playoff time when so much is on the line. It was a pretty shocking result yesterday and insane. I'm glad you brought up the other series, though. Let's talk about it. We're going to see Game 4 tonight between the Denver Nuggets and the LA Lakers. 3-0 Denver's up. And, I I know that a lot of people favored Denver in this one. Obviously, great year. They just haven't been able to get over that hump and really, step up and be that elite team. In the bubble, the Lakers were able to dispatch them fairly easily. But this year, it seems like it's different. It seems like they finally all come together as a team. They have that superstar like Jimmy Butler. I got to compare Jokic to him because he's unselfish. He doesn't mind distributing the ball around and letting other guys take the glory and get the points. And this is shown in this series that Jokic is playing way better with a surrounding cast that is playing way better and has the Lakers on the brink of a sweep.
Yes, and there's one major distinction between the Nuggets and the Heat, because Jokic has the pleasure of playing with Jamal Murray.
Right.
Jamal Murray has been playing absolutely out of his mind.
Awesome,
he has gone back. He's reverted back to when he was in the bubble. We call it Bubble Murray, and to a certain extent, he's that guy, maybe even and some. Sure. And there was a story out there when he injured himself. Right, he blew out his knee, and he approached his coach and said, "All right, since I'm damaged goods, are you guys going to trade me? Am I done here?" All right, and then Michael Malone is like, "You kidding me? Of course we're not going to do that. Like, staying, it's like your family. You're staying. You're not going anywhere."
Good.
Guess what? Look at how that paid off.
Yeah.
Awesome. Of course you're not going anywhere, man.
So good.
They understand the value of Jamal Murray, and then now it's just paying dividends. Like, he is playing absolutely insanely out of his mind, and the two of them going pick and roll like that, that's deadly. Pick your poison, man.
Yeah.
Pick your poison, what you want to do.
Yeah, it's so great to see. We here being north of the border here in Canada, we definitely like cheering on our Canadians, and great to see an Ontario boy doing so good and scoring 30 points pretty much every game this entire playoffs, all games in this series, and another 37-point night the other day. And they just seem to capture that game 3 very early on. Did not really let the Lakers impose their will at all. LeBron has started to look his age, possibly. He's not dominant. He's scoring at mid-20s most games, and really hasn't been able to have any of those huge games that LeBron's known for over his career. Anthony Davis has played pretty good, but he just can't seem to be there at the right time to keep momentum going for the Lakers. And I'm pretty shocked that the Lakers are on the verge of getting swept. Even when Anthony Davis is playing pretty good, some of the cast is playing okay, but this team just seems overmatched.
Yeah, like they do, right? Because Anthony Davis has 28 points and 18 rebounds. Yeah. And it's kind of funny to say, I guess that's not good enough. It's like, I don't know how much more you want him to do, right? Yeah. But at the same time, he's got to go against the 2-time MVP and just kind of negate him. Yeah. And I don't know if you can actually ask any more from Anthony Davis to do, because he's literally has to negate the 2-time MVP and then hope for everybody else to do stuff to help him along, right? And James is going to do what he's going to do because that's what his capabilities are at. And It's not bad. 23 points, 7 rebounds, 12 assists. He almost had a triple-double. And the guy that actually has been stepping up for them, Austin Reeves, has been playing fantastic and great. Yeah. But knowing the Lakers, they'll probably lose him because they don't want to pay him. But anyways, though, I've said it from the beginning, Denver has the deeper team, and it's showing. It's showing on a nightly basis. They got more guys that they can rely on that perform all the time.
Yeah. The one guy that's really not had a good series and is playing pretty poorly is D'Angelo Russell. This guy has cost himself over the past 3 games. He's cost himself tens of millions of dollars, I think, because he was up for a contract renewal. And when people see this performance, he's going to lose a lot of money. And this is tough. When he's on the court, they're minus 32. No, when he's off the court. Oh, no, he's on the court. They're minus 32. Off the court, they're plus 21.5. He got 3 lousy points yesterday, and just as a non-factor. I don't know what's happened to him, but he's just fallen off the map, and just a guy that you can really point to as one of the guys that's supposed to step up in this situation, a guy that they acquired and thought would be able to contribute great, and he just has not.
No, he has not. He has not at all throughout the entirety of this series, where they actually needed his scoring punch, and he has provided nothing, absolutely nothing. Like he's not like Caldwell Pope for the Nuggets, who actually has provided scoring punch because he had another 17 points. That's what they need. That's what the Lakers need. They needed. Oh, wait. They did actually have Caldwell Pope at one point in time. Forgot about that. But anyways, regardless, they needed a guy like to step up, and they don't have the other guy, because right now with the Lakers, you're looking at James, you're looking at Davis, you look at Reeves. They need a fourth guy. Yeah. But there's no fourth guy to be found, and that's why they're in the series.
Yeah. Do you expect a sweep tonight?
You know what? I guess it depends on what celebrities go to this game. Maybe that's what's gonna motivate the Lakers to win this game. But honestly, though, I think the Lakers actually win this one. I think they win one, but that's it. I think they win this one, just for pride's sake. I like the Celtics, but I think they win this one, and then they go back to Denver, and then.
That's it. Yeah. Lakers are favored by 3 going into this game. I expect the best performance from them. That I've seen all playoffs, and they're probably going to pull it out on home court tonight. But Denver, has had 3 incredible games, and I wouldn't be shocked if it was a sweep. So we will have to see. Okay, now I can't see nothing but a Miami-Denver final. We get to see Jokic against Butler coming up. I don't know exactly. Oh, it's June the 1st, the finals start. So will we have one more? Yeah, I guess we'll have one more podcast before the finals start. So we'll be able to break it down heavily there. But looking ahead, that series excites me. I'm pretty stoked to see those 2 teams battle it out.
Yeah, because they're playing at such a high level right now. And what I'm more interested to see is the coaching dynamics between the two of the utmost best coaches going at it. Yeah. And then how they're going to try to limit each other, and like in their offensive games. Like, what are they going to do when you have Jokic, who can basically be like a guard coming off pick and roll, and then now Murray setting the script? Like, there's going to be weird stuff going on where just like, oh, okay, like, what are we going to do with this guy? Honestly, because it's like, what are we going to do with this guy? Like, I think Jokic is going to be very much a key for the Nuggets, and obviously Butler for the Heat. But Jokic is going to be tough, man, because they're going to have to deal with this dude that's like, well, if you double him, he's going to do the right pass and do this. It's like, that's why he's that good. That's why he's that good. So I'm interested to see what Eric Spoelstra does and how he defends them going forward. It's going to be interesting. Very interesting.
I've been very impressed with Bam Adebayo. We didn't mention him at all throughout this, but he's been very, very, very good in this playoff run, and I think he'll be a very good weapon against Jokic, and will be able to minimize a lot of the things that he's been doing to other teams.
Yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be a great matchup. It's going to be a great matchup between those two, because they kind of do the same things. They got to do the same things, except I think Jokic is obviously the better passer. But at the same time, those two are going to be going at it. And I can't wait. I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see it, because these are 2 teams that are kind of ready for it. They're ready for the spotlight. They're ready for all of this. And I don't know who's going to win the finals. I can't tell you that, because I have no idea. None.
I think Denver's definitely going to be favored, but so has everybody else against Miami. Miami's knocked off number 1, number 2. Just has been able to knock off everybody, and this is super impressive run. So it's going to be a hell of a series, and and something that I'm really stoked and looking forward to. It's going to be incredible. Yeah. So there are a couple of more notes about in the NBA. Carmelo Anthony announced his retirement today after a 19-year career. Ninth scorer in NBA history, 10-time All-Star, 6-time All-NBA, 3-time Olympic gold medalist. He's on the 75th anniversary team. Very decorated, long career for Carmelo. Your thoughts on him retiring today?
He provided us with a lot of entertainment. And, like nearing the end of his career, he definitely grew up quite a bit, knowing that he wasn't the same player as he once was, and was finally willing to accept more of a diminished role so that he can continue playing. I thought that showed a lot of maturity and growth on his part. Nice. And he deserves all his flowers. He's obviously going to be a Hall of Famer. And the world's his oyster now, because like with how much these guys get paid nowadays, you can do anything you want, man. So it's good for him. Good for him. A very successful career in the books.
I would, looking back, I remember there was some discussion who should go number one overall. Should it be LeBron or Carmelo? LeBron or Carmelo? There was even some discussion. Maybe Cleveland would go the Carmelo route, and it's amazing to actually think that the whole entire course of NBA history would have been changed if they would have changed their mind and went Carmelo. Can you believe that was even a discussion?
Well, yeah. Now, when you think about it, it's like that should never have been a discussion. That would have been the same. Would have been the same as Sam Bowie going first, and then Michael Jordan not going first. It would have been exactly the same thing. And then the Cleveland would have been like killing themselves forever, right? So, So it's obviously not a discussion anymore, but because James is just in his own stratosphere.
Yeah, I think Carmelo had a bit of a disappointing career in the sense that no rings, didn't have a lot of success, wasn't able to lift a team and take them to places where a guy that has had this long and decorated of a career, stats wise, he just wasn't able to lift his team to the heights that he should have.
He like his playoff performances weren't the greatest, if I remember correctly, and he just didn't have. I think he needed somebody else to help him in those instances. But at the same time, I think there was a little bit of immaturity in the beginning of his career too, as well, where he felt like he was more entitled to take shots regardless of when and where. And I don't think it felt like to me there was a lot of times where he just didn't trust his teammates enough at all.
Yeah, that's true. I can't say nothing too bad about him, but I wish that he would have had a little more success in the possibility of a ring. There was a lot of talk back in the day when LeBron decided to go to South Beach and align himself with Dwayne Wade, that if Carmelo wasn't locked down into a contract at the time, he would have been that guy that Bosch became, and they would have had that three-headed monster there. And you remember when they were doing that and they said, oh, not one, not two, not three, not four, and they were doing that. I think, Bosch was quite the incredible talent and as a Hall of Famer too, but Carmelo there, I think that team could have won multiple championships there.
Possibly. I'm going to say possibly only because of the fact of the matter is, would Carmelo be willing to accept that role that he's given? Because he'd have to play not only second fiddle to LeBron, but to D Wade as well.
Third fiddle,
would he be willing to actually do that?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, he might have had a little more success in New York if they didn't have to give up so much to get him there and decimated their team like we've seen other teams do when they have to get that elite guy. And we'll never know. But anyway, congratulations on a Hall of Fame career. He'll be nominated into the Hall of Fame, and was able to last a lot longer than any of the other guys out there except LeBron. and good on him. Had a very long career for sure. I do want to mention there is a lot of coaches that are being considered for the open positions right now. I hear Nick Nurse is down to the short list for the Milwaukee Bucks job. He's down to the top three are Kenny Atkinson and Adrian Griffin, and Nick Nurse is also in the hunt for the Suns, Sixers jobs, and possibly Boston if we see a sweep up in the next game tomorrow night. Nick Nurse looks like he really wants to have a coaching job with one of the top contenders. Where should he go? If you were his agent, where would you recommend him going?
Bucks.
Yeah, Milwaukee.
I would recommend him going to the Bucks because those guys have won it already. They know how to win. They want to win. And then who doesn't want to work with Giannis?
Yeah.
Dude, he is a winner, and he gives it his all every game. So yeah. I would say Milwaukee would be probably the best destination. Plus, on top of that, the team's already set up. They're set up for like a championship run right now. So yes, I would say Bucks number one. Yeah, just Bucks number one, man, because 76ers have their own problems. Looks like James Harden's going to dip. He's going to leave or go back to Houston or whatever the heck he wants to do. It's weird. And then also too with Boston, you'd be coming into like just all sorts of like just mania because they didn't win. It's disappointing. And then like the media in Boston is just nuts. Like to try to take all that on, not a lot of fun. That would be a lot of fun.
That's true. Yeah. Good point. Before we leave basketball, I want to say I saw White Men Can't Jump, the remake this weekend. Highly recommend it. Great movie. It's on Disney Plus, I believe. And it was great. Blake Griffin, Tyler Hero are in it. A lot of really great basketball. And I was really surprised. Jack Harlow, it's his very first acting gig ever. Was really, really great. I was very impressed with him. Jack Harlow was one of the stars of that celebrity game at the All-Star break this past this year at the All-Star weekend. And he can hoop. He was super impressive there in the celebrity game. And in this movie, watch it. If you like basketball, if you saw that movie and you liked it, this movie is super great. And I give it really big 2 thumbs up.
Okay, so are you saying is it as good as the original? Is it close? Because I don't think it's gonna make the original.
It's not as good as the original, but it's close. It's really close.
Okay, then that's good. That's awesome. That's awesome because you're gonna do a remake. You're gonna do it well. Like that's one of my all-time favorites. Because here's one thing I didn't know from the original. Going back to the original, I had no idea Woody Harrelson could actually hoop. That's what you found out.
It's surprising, yeah. It was shocking. And you see him to this day. He's on the sideline at Laker games. You see him all the time. He's a massive fan, and I guess he could hoop. But a lot of white guys never get chances. In inner cities, they just get shoved to the back. And sorry, buddy. I think acting is better for you than hooping. So see ya. And a lot of guys give up on their dream early.
Well, no. That's why we instituted the 3-point line. So we give you guys a chance. And then we took it away from you then.
I see.
Yeah. Like we gave you a chance. And it's like, well, you're not doing it right. So we'll just show you how to do it. That's why Stephen Curry came around and was like, oh, no, this is how you're supposed to do it.
Okay. Tell that to Nikola, Jokic, 2-time MVP, Steve Nash, 2-time MVP, Larry Bird. I think, we've got a representation there.
Okay. You know what? I'm not going to argue with that, especially not with Larry Legend. And that dude was awesome.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it was great. It was funny. It was good. And it was everything that I hoped it for. And interesting to see Blake Griffin, Tyler Hero there. 2 guys that I thought we would see in this Boston-Miami series. Tyler not playing because he's hurt. Blake Griffin, the anchor to the bench, glued there and never getting a chance anymore. I don't know what's happened to him, but career's over, looks like. And Udonis Haslem, They were chanting, "We want Haslam. We want Haslam." It's the only thing I can say bad about Eric Spoelstra this entire postseason, that he didn't play Haslam yesterday when the crowd was chanting for him. He got to play in that last game of the season, had a really amazing, had a career high night, and then he just doesn't even put him in there just for at least a couple minutes. He could have, had an appearance. The crowd would have went bananas if he hit the court.
Like it would have, but I think again that it has to go with like their Heat culture, and their culture is this: it's like, well, if I'm not actually in the rotation, then I'm not in the rotation, and I'm good with that. And I think that's what UD is all about. It's like, no, it's about the team. It ain't about me. Yes, you can chant my name, but I'm not going to be going in.
Yeah.
Right. So, and I that's what I love about Udonis Haslem. He's a real, like he's real. He's real about his situation and everything else. That's why he's been so respected, loved, and beloved in Miami for his 20-year career.
Yeah. Well, he's great. I'm a team guy. But that warm-up suit would have been so quickly off of me. Started the chanting my name. I would have been up by the scorer's table. I'm in. I wouldn't even waited for Spo to give me the point or the nod. I would have been in there. And I'm still a team guy, but I want to see the finals one, or the conference finals one last time if I'm UD.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But you know what? He's super important and integral to that team. He's one of only three players that have been with the same team for 20 years.
Wow.
You know who the other two are? Kobe Bryant.
Yeah. Wow. Oh, crazy. Eh? That's amazing. Yeah, that's a neat stat. I'm glad you pulled that up. Yeah, that's incredible. And I'm glad that the fans are recognizing him, chanting him. I would have loved to see an appearance by him, but he is that ultimate team guy, and they've been so lucky to have him. He's been able to bring a lot of those undrafted guys and give them, the information they need, give them the lifestyle of the NBA and how you have to be ready at all times, and many aspects. Spoelstra's really lucky to have him down at the end of the bench.
Yes, absolutely. And also too, like with the people that say you're stealing a roster spot from people or from another player that would be maybe possibly more capable. You know what his answer was to that? We've made the Eastern Conference Finals 3 out of 4 years.
Yeah.
And then he just looks and is just like,
nice.
Yeah, okay, enough said.
Yeah.
Well said.
Yeah. Way to just stuff the microphone right down the reporter's throat with a great quote like that. Eh? Beautiful.
Yeah. That's beautiful. It was just so to the point, and it's like, oh, by the way, now it looks like 2 finals in 4 years.
Yeah. Very incredible. Yeah, exactly. Awesome. Okay, let's switch gears now. UFC held a card this weekend back in Vegas. They decided to hold it early because they did not want to go up against the Devin Haney-Vasily Lomachenko fight. So UFC can take a back seat in our podcast, and we can talk about Haney-Lomachenko, which was a great fight, something we've been wanting to see for a while, and it has a ton of controversy because most people think that Vasily Lomachenko won this fight, and there was a huge amount of boos in the arena, MGM Grand Arena in Vegas. A lot of reporters, a lot of people online say Lomachenko got robbed. I've seen the fight, and I don't think he got robbed necessarily, but I thought he won this fight. And another black guy in boxing, because this happens too often where you start wondering if it's a fix, because, this is a Ukrainian guy in the U.S. that has the fans, American fans, that are chanting USA, USA, USA for a Ukrainian guy over American guy. So to me, that seems pretty obvious who everybody thought won. And this seems like this shouldn't have been the case. I think Lomachenko came in, had a great game plan, maybe lost some of those early rounds, but once it got into the later rounds, he took over and I think won this fight. Came close to finishing it. I really wish he would have, but this seems like a bit of a black eye in boxing, and too bad because this was one of the events of the weekend.
I saw the highlights. I didn't watch the fight. Like I tried to watch it, but I couldn't find it. Anyways, but I saw the highlights.
Okay.
And from the brief highlights that I saw, I knew that obviously it was a close fight, but it seemed that in the exchanges, especially in the latter part of the fight, that he was getting the best of those exchanges.
Oh yeah.
Am I right in saying that?
Oh, very much so. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then I don't know what the scorecards were, but I know it was a split decision win, right?
It was a unanimous decision win for Haney, which was really weird. Yeah, I had it 116, 112 for Loma. One of the judges had 116, 112 for Haney, and the other two had 115, 113 for Haney. But I was shocked. I was very surprised. I watched it. I stopped it, fast forwarded it. I watched it again today. It was, to me, it was a robbery. It really was. I know I said maybe I couldn't call it a robbery earlier, but when I have it, so far, on the one side, it wasn't a split decision, unanimous decision. It was bizarre. The 116, 112, everybody that I'm seeing online just comment after comment. Who the hell is this guy? He deserves to have his judge, card revoked, and it was pretty damn surprising. I know that Haney is the guy they want because he's undefeated, and he's the guy that they want to have in some of these big fights next. But he lost his fight, and I really dislike boxing when I see stuff like this.
That's why you don't bet on boxing, because even if you bet on boxing, it's just no guarantee that the guy that actually won is going to win, right?
Yeah.
And okay, so the first thing I gotta say is this: how could that not be a split decision? All right, like from the brief highlights that I saw, about 7 or 8 minutes, I don't understand how that could not be a split decision. That's first and foremost. That's number one for me. So when you told me that it was unanimous, I'm like, well, then that's clearly wrong.
Very weird.
So I'm sorry. It's just clearly wrong. That can't happen like that. And you're right. The other judge, there's got to be like some sort of there's got to be a process for judges that screw it up that bad. There's got to be repercussions. Like if you give in a bad scorecard, where professionals don't look at your scorecard and go, "What are you talking about?" No, this is completely wrong. There has to be some sort of sanctions or repercussions for judges, which is something like, okay, so this is what you did. That's cool. You can't judge for a year. You're out.
Yeah, I wish. I hope they can implement that someday, because it's very frustrating. Love boxing, always have. Love boxing much before the UFC even came into existence, and I've continued to be a fan of the sport, and I want to see big fights like this. This was a big fight. This really took center stage in Vegas, and was something that everybody really wanted to see. And it was messed up by the judges. Lomachenko, I've got so much more respect for him, leaving his boxing career and going on the front lines of battle to, try to repel the Russians from Ukraine, and fight for his country. We've seen numerous boxers, decide to go that route, and I've gained a ton of respect for him. Always loved him as a boxer, and really loved his career. And to see him get a job like this, it's just a real kick in the what.
Yeah, obviously, man, because it's not right. But then again, it's boxing, and that there's always that undercurrent of, okay, so what really happened here? You got paid off. This is what you really wanted to happen, regardless of whatever the results would have been. Like, let's say this: what if Loma actually blowed him out and he still loses? How much worse would that have been? Yeah. Right. So.
Yeah, he had him wobbled, and nearly dropped him in the 10th round and the 11th round. Came very close. It looked like Haney was on wobbly legs and ready to go out if he landed another shot or two. It was near the end of the rounds, so he was saved by the bell a bit. But Haney, he's had a pretty amazing career. He's 31-0, I believe now, with 15 knockouts. Not one of those guys that moves the needle a huge amount, but they already had Shakur Stevenson ringside, brought him into the ring after stirring up a new fight between them two. That's the thing that started making me wonder more about a bit of a fix. They really wanted to make this kind of fight happen. There's talks about him maybe fighting Tank Davis, which I think would be a ridiculous joke. I think Davis would kill him. But Shakur Stevenson, I think he has a good shot with them, and it's probably going to be a pretty good fight. And I think that's probably next.
I think that's what makes sense. That's probably what they were kind of gearing towards anyways with this ridiculous loss for Lomachenko. So if that's what they wanted to see, then that's what they got. There you go.
Yeah, as I said, left a sour taste in my mouth, and I was disappointed with how it turned out. I think Loma deserved that win, and it's kind of it's really too bad when I have to crap on boxing a bit because I've just been witness to too many of these over the years. We see bad judging in the UFC, and it happens, but this is a complete life-altering decision. This is something massive at a massive scale. You got to have the best of the best in their judging, and as I said, it's crazy that most fans were booing like crazy for a Ukrainian guy to beat an American guy. That's got to show almost everybody that this was wrong.
No, yeah, exactly, right? Like, because not everybody in the stadium can be wrong, right? Not all the analysts, broadcasters, they can't all be wrong, right? So then you have to wonder, it's like, so what's going on with you guys? What did you see that we didn't see?
Yeah.
But I thought we were watching the same boxing.
Three guys out of a million, and those are the three most important guys, and they get it wrong. That's just craziness. Yeah, brutal. Okay, let's switch to the UFC. We had a card. Both you and I weren't excited when we looked at the card. Our preview last week was sweet and short to the point where, lacks a lot. Doesn't seem like we really, I don't know. We said fight of the night would be Buckley. Fiala wasn't. This card had some amazing moments, had some great things to talk about. The main event, one-sided. I knew it going in. Mackenzie Dern is far and away better than Angela Hill, and it showed. Angela Hill won the second round, but she got absolutely beat up bad in the rest of this fight. It's amazing that she was able to last the entire fight. She did some great defense on some of these armbar attempts that Dern had, but this was such a one-sided affair that it really wasn't, to me, wasn't fight of the night, because come on, I'm going to be able to beat somebody up that's nowhere in my class, and that's what happened here.
Okay. Probably got fight of the night just because of the one fact. Angela Hill's incredible toughness and her will to not give up on herself. Any other person would have just said, enough's enough, take the arm bars and get out of here, tap, I'm done, right? Dern, I've never seen her more aggressive, but then if you listen to her interviews before the fight of all the stuff that she's been going through with the divorce and stuff, it just seemed like she wanted to get out a lot of anger, like a ton of it. And she did. And she beat up Angela Hill. Like, I felt sorry for Angela Hill because I'm like, oh, she's just taking out all her aggression on this poor woman. This poor lady's got to get beat up because they're super furious. And the fact that the other thing that I was very impressed of, her striking was there. The power behind her strikes was unbelievable. She was throwing full power. And the fact that she was able to keep up that pace for 5 rounds. I was like, wow, I was super impressed with that. And she beat up Angela Hill. Like, Angela Hill, her only chance was on the feet. And then when Dern took that away, because once it went to the mat, oh no, you don't have a chance with Dern on the mat. She just got beaten up for 5 rounds. She survived it. So I guess, you know what? give her a high five for that, because she took an absolute ass whooping.
Yeah, she did. Yeah, and even won the second round. According to everyone, but the scores were 49-44 twice and 49-43. Yeah, you don't see cards like that very often, and took an absolute ass whooping. Yeah. I loved her defense on when Dern was getting into position for the armbar. She was able to loop her legs around and sort of get them in the way of her arm to stop it from happening. She was clasping on and holding and trying everything she could. And it's incredible that she didn't tap after getting just completely pummeled. I think the ground strikes were 61-1. And most of those were really mean, vicious elbows that were just continuously raining down on her face. I think it was in the second round her eyes started closing, and it was pretty much closed the rest of the fight. And she was tough as hell. I don't think I still would have given it fight of the night, but Dana White and his boys decided to give them both $50K for the fight of the night. And Mackenzie Dern, she definitely has gone through a lot in her personal life. Sounds like she's really had a tough go, and she took it out on her big time. And look out anybody else if she continues to have tough things going on in her life, because this is a mean, tough woman that really wasn't known for her stand-up and was phenomenal for stand-up. I think a lot of people expected her to take Hill down and just beat her like she did, but she was still even more dominant on the feet than anybody expected.
Yeah, like her stand-up has got like improved by leaps and bounds.
Yeah.
And to the point that where Angela Hill is very slick on her feet, and it just didn't matter. She just blasted through her. So that was a notice for everybody in that division that she's coming, man. And hopefully she has a better fight camp for her next opponent. Because if she goes through a lot of other personal negative stuff, well, guess what? She's going to bring that into the octagon. She's going to beat you up. So hopefully she just has like everything's good for her next opponent. Because man, I hope she's in a good mood today.
Exactly. Yeah. Good point. Very good point. Okay. The co-main event was great. I was so happy. Edmund Shabazian, one of the guys I hate the most in the sport. Can't wait to him to get cut. He's 1-4. Is he 1-4 in his last 5 fights? I know he's lost 3 or 4 in the last little bit. He's a guy that was so overhyped and so, the golden boy. When he got that nickname, I'm like, hey, you can't have that nickname. Get rid of it. Tell everybody, no, I can't be called the golden boy. This was great. And to see him beat by Fluffy, awesome. Just even more of a great moment. Fluffy knocks him out, beats him up bad. This was awesome for me, and this was my fight of the night.
Okay, so this is what I will say. Like, obviously, you're such a big fan of Shabazian, but his first round was good. Like Shabazian showed up well, like he was good. But what Fluffy can do to you is he can impose his will. And then that's basically what started to happen, where he's just like, all right, well, I'm just going to start turning it up several notches now and just out wrestle, grapple, be glued to him for the next basically 2 rounds. Couldn't get him off and just had to hold his weight and drag him down to the mat and then let him get up and go, oh, nope, down you go again. Like up and down and up. Like he just drained his gas tank.
He wore him out like crazy. Yeah. Was he ever tired quick? Yeah. They just very, very much wore him out.
Yeah. Methodically just wore him out to the point in the 3rd round where it's like, see that I broke you. And now I'm just going to finish you off and get you out of here and I can get my money. And that's exactly what he did, man. A very impressive win by Hernandez.
I don't think Shabazian is coached still by Edmund Tarvardian, but he is a career killer. Edmund is probably the worst coach in mixed martial arts. I cannot believe how badly he mismanaged Ronda Rousey's career, Travis Brown's, Jake Ellenberger. And I was just like, are you kidding me? You just because you're Armenian and I guess he went to this Glendale Fighting Club for a long time, but I guess he's moved over now to Extreme Couture in Vegas and there. But even though he's moved camps, still hater. I don't like him. Don't want him to do well. And I think the UFC is close to cutting him. He did have a good first round, but his gas tank's got to be better than that. Like, that's going to be the game plan from this point forward, isn't it?
Well, yeah, and also too, he should have known better. Hernandez is known to do that.
That's what he's going to bring to the fight, isn't he?
That's what he's going to do. So if you didn't actually have that road work or have your cardio at an insane level, then that's on you, and that's on your coaches, because that guy's not going to tire out, but you will if you're not trained up enough, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, he was undefeated up until I think he's lost 4 out of his last 5, and this is do or die for him. He might be gone from the organization now. Okay, there was a fight right before that fight with our Vancouver girl, Lupi Godinez. Emily Ducati was her opponent. Godinez got this call, late replacement. Ducati was supposed to fight Polyana Viana, and Lupi got the call. She only fought 6 weeks ago after beating Cynthia Calvillo, so incredible that she was able to fight back-to-back months. This was a great, gritty performance by her. She was just able to just continue really good defense, great combinations, and just continue to pepper Emily with shots, and got a big win. 5-3 now in the UFC, and has really looked good recently, and I'm very impressed with how much better she continues to get.
Yeah, and her stand-up looked absolutely fantastic. I thought her stand-up has even gotten better from 6 weeks before when we last saw her. Yeah. And I was super impressed with her stand-up, and because basically this was more stand-up than anything else. It really didn't go to the mat all that often, and she was willing to fight Ducati, and I think that was where Ducati had her best chance of winning the fight, was in the stand-up, and beat her at her own game. Yeah, beat her at her own game. So I'm very impressed.
I was surprised that she asked to fight September 16th. Not exactly sure why she picked that particular date. I thought she would ask to fight on the June 10th card in 3-4 weeks, whatever it is. Not far away. It's in hometown. Might as well ask and see if you can appear in front of the home crowd. Were you surprised too?
I was a little bit surprised, but then also too maybe not that surprised, because maybe she's just like, okay, I literally fought 6 weeks ago, and then now I'm gonna fight in 3 weeks from now again. It's like, wow, that's asking a little much.
A little too much,
so yeah. So then that's why I was like, okay, but I have no idea what card that is on September 16th that she's asking to be on. Is that like a Madison Square Garden thing? I didn't know where that date came from. I was just like, I'm kind of confused. I don't know what's going.
Yeah, I'll have to look ahead and see who's on that card, where it's at. Don't have that information right in front of me, but yeah, that was kind of bizarre. Hope she gets her wish and gets put on that card, and we get to see her really soon. I'm impressed, and it's nice to see another Canadian start really piling up wins and doing good things. I'm excited to see her fight next for sure. You and I picked the fight between Joaquin Buckley and Andre Fiallo to be the fight of the night. This was a great fight while it lasted. These two guys are super, super tough, and incredible to see Joaquin Buckley make his move to welterweight and have such success. And this was another one of those great highlight reel knockouts for Buckley. And this guy is somebody that I love in the UFC. Incredible addition, and some of the things that he does and says, I love him. It was another really fun performance.
Yeah, yes, yeah. It's always good seeing knockout artists going against each other, right? Yeah. But also too, I respected the fact that both of them took their time. They didn't just go in there swinging away like madmen like Fiallo has done, like Buckley has done. They both took their time and they also respected what was coming back at one another because they knew they both had the capacity to shut each other's lights out, right? Yeah. So I thought that Fiallo, his approach was good until it wasn't. And then Buckley with that left high kick to the head. I think he was actually setting that up throughout the course of that fight, trying to get
I saw it, yeah,
arm to come down just a slight bit. And when he saw his opportunity, that was shin to the head, clear contact. Like Fiallo didn't have a shot. Like that was, he was going down. And then what he did after the fact of his knockout, because he could have had the walk away knockout, right? Yeah. You don't want to do that though. You want to stand over the man, yell at him, then punch him one more time.
Yeah. Yeah, the referee was just, I think it was Kerry Hatley. He was just a little apprehensive, like, okay, is he out? I'm not sure. His eyes are still open. And then when Buckley just walked over, stood over him, said something, and then just bam, hammer fisted it. And then you saw his eyes roll back and he was done. It was, one of those ones where you're like, yeah, that didn't need to happen, but Hatley hadn't stopped it. So, you know, I got to do what I got to do. This is my job. So, but it was one of those ones we're going to see for a long time because it was basically a walk-off head kick knockout. It just didn't sort of end that way exactly.
No, it didn't. And I did love the fact that the ref then said, okay, that was a little egregious, and then shoves Buckley away from him. So I'm like, well, you could have just like stopped it. You know that, right?
Yeah. He should have definitely stopped it. Well, there was no referee necessary in the opening fight of the main card. One of the most spectacular knockouts you're going to see. Diego Ferreira was able to absolutely stiffen up Michael Johnson before he hit the canvas. This was one of those spectacular knockouts that's going to be on the UFC highlight reel for years and years to come. This was just such a perfect shot that just took Johnson out. And I jumped out of my seat and was pretty stunned when I saw it happen. How about you?
Johnson was winning this fight. But that's how it goes with this guy sometimes, where he looks absolutely spectacular and then he just gets caught.
Bam.
And sometimes you just get caught. Unfortunately for Johnson, this has happened a lot in his career, where he looks absolutely spectacular and then he just gets caught. And then that was a step in overhand right that had everything on it.
Whoa.
It's like he basically went like this. Like everything on it, man.
Yeah.
And for him to go timber over like that, well, first off, he did apologize for punching him again because he's like, I was kind of amped and didn't realize what I was doing until I did it. And it was like, oh, well, I probably should have done that. It's like, he was super knocked out, right?
Yeah, it was kind of funny because he actually kind of goes and holds his head a little bit after he had landed that massive shot. Then he sort of went and holds his head and goes, sorry about that. I shouldn't have hit you. These I feel for the refs sometimes because they're not really in position exactly, not expecting such a massive quick knockout like that. But sometimes those shots are unnecessary. But like I said on the previous fight, if the referee's not already pushing you off, you got to finish him, and that's what he made sure he did.
Yeah, exactly. Because we've seen many times where, I remember there's been fights where the guys have been like, so you're not going to stop it, right? No, you want me to keep hurting him. Okay, then, right? So they'll actually have a conversation. I've seen that, right? So, but I thought it was kind of funny because I don't know when he was cradling Johnson's head, he was like, hey, man, I'm super sorry. And then the ref's like, can't hear you, son. It's unconscious.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. No words were necessary there. He did not hear you. You'll have to talk to him later. Yeah, that was a spectacular way to start off the main card. It got $50K for Diego and also $50K for the featured fight on the prelims, a fight between Vyacheslav Borshev, who fought Maheshate. This is a guy, Maheshate, who, you know, is a super tough guy. And when they came out, I saw the odds were for Borshev, and I thought, oh, I don't know, maybe they shouldn't have been. But the matchmakers and the Vegas got this right. Slava Claus got his 50K for another spectacular KO. Really, really good win here.
First off, I love his nickname. Like that's probably one of the best nicknames in the biz. And also too, he had everything going. His combinations, the leg kicks, like he was in his ultimate flow state. That's what I would say. Like he was flowing so well. And then once in that second round, by the way, I forgot about that. Borshev actually had taken a shot to one of his eyes. I think it was his left eye.
Yeah.
He was fighting one eye, and he was still fighting at such a high, unbelievable level. And then shut Machate's lights out with that right hand.
Yeah.
That was devastating punch, especially when you see it in slow motion. You're just like, oh yeah, you're not getting up from that. It's over. It's over.
Yeah, it was just an absolute power shot that just landed perfectly on the button. And it was a very impressive performance. He's a cheating Russian, so you know I'm only going to give him a little bit of credit, but you know, geez, that was a KO that he'll be able to be happy with. It was a full-on power shot that ended the night early there, and he got 50K for his knockout there too. I was pretty impressed with the performance of Karolina Kowalkiewicz. She's had some ups and downs in the last little while, but this is a girl that fought for the belt at some point. Looked really, really phenomenal. Was able to use her reach advantage against Vanessa Demopoulos, little monster, and grind out a really, really significant good win for her.
Yeah, this was a great win for her. It seems like she's beginning to climb back up. And Demopoulos was not that easy. She was loading up on her punches, but I think because of the way that she was throwing her strikes and loading up on those punches, it made it easy for Carolina to see them coming. Yeah. And then I think that was the difference really in the fight, was that she was able to see that, was able to work with that, use her reach, and then her combos were great, fantastic, and she got the win.
Yeah. Lupi Godinez was able to beat Vanessa Demopoulos in her last fight before she entered the UFC. That performance got her a UFC contract and was able to vault her into the big show. So good to see both girls there, and Lupi continuing on. Gilbert Urbina enters the cage with a lot of family history in the UFC. Him and his three brothers all went on to the Ultimate Fighter show. His two brothers did not win and make it to the big show. Urbina was able to get finally into the big show and get his opportunity. He took the most of it in this fight and was able to get a really solid knockout win and looked impressive in doing so. I like this guy, and I like his backstory that he decided, I'm going to do it. My two brothers weren't able to, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to get some big wins you're going to see. And he sure did.
No, he sure did. He looked actually great. He looked absolutely great in this fight. I love the knees that he was throwing when he was up in the clinch, had some powerful strikes. And then when he did the ground and pound, I think that's where he hurt Kosi to the ribs, because Kosi went back to his corner and said something going on right there. And Urbina obviously finally figured that out, started doing the front kick and teep kicks to the ribs, and then finally hurt him on the one. And he was like, okay. With such a big reaction like that, the end is coming. And then the ref came in and said, okay, it's enough.
Yeah, I was watching the fight, and Lorray pointed out the rib injury before I had noticed it. You could see the ribs protruding and sticking out, and then when he went to his corner, he addressed it with his cornerman. Urbina said he didn't even know. He wasn't aware of it, but once he landed that kick in the same general area, just was not able to continue and got the victory. I was surprised that he didn't know, and nobody from his other corner noticed either. The only way we knew that he was with a pre-existing injury was because he said it in his corner, and then I guess the commentators noticed it too and said it. But yeah, good on Urbina to continue at it and land that kill shot when he even didn't know that that's all it was required.
Yeah. I honestly thought he knew, because since Kosi was doing those big reactions, all of a sudden he's like, oh, something weird there, so I'm just gonna keep kicking at that. So
yeah, that was wild. Okay, let's fly through the rest of it. Heavyweight fight between Rodrigo Nascimento Ferreira against Ilir Latifi. Latifi is a good heavyweight, but short, and sometimes that lack of length can really hurt him. He would just continuously stalked around the cage this entire 15 minutes and wasn't able to get much in the way of offense going. Ferreira had a really good game plan, kept the pressure on, and was able to get the victory there.
Yeah, he had it. Nascimento had a great game plan, kept the pressure, kept forward pressure, put his punch combos together. Latifi basically was kind of limited to, if I can shoot and take him down, maybe, and then hold him on the ground, which he did the one round, but then that's not going to be enough for you to win the fight. It's not enough. It didn't show enough. And then also too, he didn't fight for his space in the octagon. He was just more than happy to skirt around the edges. And as far as I'm concerned, always backing up and skirting around, that's not going to win you the fight.
No, he didn't have it. I do want to mention the Chase Hooper fight. He looked great in this new weight class, put on an incredible pace in his fight. Very good moves when he got into any trouble, was able to get himself out of any difficult positions. I loved how much he's evolved. I started wondering after his last fight when he got just kicked the crap out of by Steve Garcia. I wondered maybe, this isn't for him, but he went back to the drawing board and really improved and looked good in this win over Nick Fiore, who's a tough guy.
Yeah, he did. They put on one heck of a pace, though. That was a furious 3-round pace that eventually at one point in time, I don't know if it was the second or third round, but they were both just kind of lying on each other. It was like, I'm really tired. All right. Okay, you ready? Okay, I'm ready.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they were both exhausted. I think they said that they had thrown over 200 strikes apiece, and the pace was just furious. And it wasn't just stand up. There was a lot of exchanges on the cage, on the ground, just continuously maneuvering and going. And I like this fight, and I like to see Hooper evolve like this and get so much better. I think this is very smart for him. He's 6'1". He was just really depleted cutting down to that weight. Good to see at featherweight. Good to see him at lightweight. And he said, this was so much better. He said he was exhausted after the fight, but I don't think he could have kept up that pace at the lower weight class.
No, because he would have been super depleted already, right? Yeah. And I think he looked a lot better at this weight class because he looked fuller and he just looked better. He had more energy, more everything. So I think sometimes, for fighters where they think I'll gain such a significant advantage by trying to deplete myself and then trying to hydrate back up. Sometimes, it's diminishing returns. You're not going to get enough out of it, right? And I'm glad Hooper figured that out early on in his career. So now that
he's only 23 and got a long career ahead of him, it looks like. Garcia beat him up bad, and I think everybody realized, hey, maybe we got to change our game plan a bit and try something different, and I'm glad they did. I like his camp down in Washington State. He's originally from Enumclaw, not far from here, and there's a lot of good emerging talent coming out of there. I see them fight in the local Battlefield League and other leagues around the province here, and I think he's got a good camp. So good on Chase Hooper to turn it around do a good thing. The other fights weren't on our prelim fights. They didn't televise them here, but I did go and watch Temba Garambo's fight, which was the first fight of the night. He ended up getting a decision win over Takashi Sato. I loved seeing a lot of things from Garimbo after the fight. He said this meant so much to him getting this victory. He said he didn't actually even know how much he was making, but he said he was happy because he knew he was getting his show bonus and his win bonus because he only had $7 left in his bank account when he walked into the cage. He said he told about his journey here. He only has been in the US for 7 weeks. He's been sleeping on a couch in the gym and training as much as he could every day. He said he didn't even have enough money to eat most days. And he said that Colby Covington kept bringing him food. And he said, I know a lot of people hate Covington and think he's a jerk, but I think he's a great guy. He fed me a lot over the last few weeks getting ready for this fight. He's had a tough life story. He was in Africa. He became an orphan at 13. He was a smuggler of blood diamonds at 16, and he had to escape from Zimbabwe to South Africa from a really, really bad, tough situation. And now he's in the UFC getting an opportunity, and I hope he got paid pretty good. I hope they even gave him a little bit of a bonus for getting this win. And you hear some stories like this, but it's crazy what some guys have to go through to make their martial arts debuts and make their dreams come true.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane what some people have to go through, but those are the people that you can never count out, because it's like, if you want to talk about mental toughness, you want to talk about like having that mental fortitude to get past whatever life throws at you. Look at that guy.
Yeah,
he's got it, right? Like,
amazing.
And with the mere fact that it's like, all right, well, I don't have any money, but I'm about to go for a fight. I'm going to win the fight. I'm going to make money. So then, and on top of that, you didn't really have, like, there's no recourse there. There's no other way to do it. It's like, no, I got to win so I can eat. I'm going to win.
It's crazy, isn't it? Yeah, it's insane, unbelievable, and it's great. I hear a lot of stories about guys sleeping on the floor in the gym, sleeping on a mattress that they just threw down, because they just don't have any money and they had to try to pursue their dreams. And this is another example of a guy that just tries his best. His family is still stuck back in Africa. His wife's back there, his rest of his family. And he hopefully gets a nice bonus here, gets a nice bit of money. Don't know what he's going to get, but this will help him out for the next foreseeable future. And hopefully we see him on a card again really soon. Yeah, well, you know what? I'm pretty sure you will, because it's like, oh, I'm going to get some more money. So, yeah. Exactly, yeah. There is no UFC next weekend. It goes ahead another week. The fight between Kai Kara-France and Amir Albazi is the main event of the card on Saturday, June the 3rd. And then the following week, we've got UFC 289 in Vancouver. We can break down this card next week. It looks like a pretty good card. I'm impressed with some of the guys on it, and I think they've done a good job putting together a pretty decent card in a couple weeks.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. There's obviously there's more than a couple cancellations, which is always unfortunate. But always good to see Jim Miller back in it, facing off against Jared Gordon. And then the co-main event, I think, could be pretty entertaining with Alex Caceres versus Daniel Pineda. I think that might be your fight of the night right there. And then the always tricky, as he fights, he's got a very unique fighting style. Tim Elliott.
Tim Elliott, Dirty Bird,
yeah.
So that'll be great. Yeah. The UFC has been announcing a bunch of fights over the past few days, and the UFC 291 card I'm super pumped for. They've got the BMF title up for grabs. Dustin Poirier against Justin Gaethje will be the headliner of UFC 291. That's going to be held in Salt Lake City, Utah, July 29th. And that main event is going to be off the hook. Those two guys are going to bang, and it's going to be something that we remember for a long time, I think.
Yeah, that's going to be a great fight. They're just going to hurt each other like a lot and for a long time. And that's why it's going to be awesome. And you know what? I don't think you could actually have a better matchup for that belt, for the BMF. I don't think you could have a better fight for that belt. That is an awesome call.
The co-main event is Jan Blachowicz, Alex Pereira, which should be incredible. Tony Ferguson, Bobby Green fighting there. Paulo Costa, Ikram Aliskerov, and Stephen Wonderboy Thompson against Michelle Pereira. Derek Lewis against Marcos Rogerio de Lima, and Michael Chiesa, Kevin Holland. All on this card. Why didn't you bring this to Vancouver? Why does Salt Lake, lousy Utah, get this card? What the hell? Why don't we get this card here? I would willingly pay the $500. Come on. We have to get this card here. Why don't you make it that great card? Utah doesn't deserve it. They just had one recently. We haven't had one here in 4 years, and you're going to give us this card compared to that card? Come on. Why are you doing this to us, UFC?
You know what? Okay, that card that you just mentioned right there, the 291 card, that's worth the cost of what this card is now.
Yeah.
That's what I would spend my money on.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, but unfortunately for what you've given us, I'm not spending my money on that.
Yeah.
I'm not spending my money on it. But that card right there, yeah, that's it. That's the kind of money you drop on that. That card is loaded. Utterly loaded.
Absolutely stacked. Yeah, absolutely stacked. Fingers crossed, nobody gets hurt, nobody has to pull out. But that card, I cannot wait to watch that. You and I got to get together and watch that one together. That's going to be probably the fight card of the year. Super big banger, and awesome that they put it together. I just wish they would have put it here.
Yeah. You know, because like you said, they haven't been here for 4 years, and yes, you did give us something. Great, thank you. And then you did that. And it's like, okay, so you give us this, but then you did that. So like, how do we get that to come here next time?
Yeah.
Do I have to bug you on Instagram, Dana? Is that what it's gonna take? So maybe next time you come up to Canada, you can give us one of those awesome cards. What do you think? No? Okay. I don't.
Yeah, well, you should just attend the press conference with me the early part of the week when they come here in a couple of weeks, and you can ask Uncle Dana that question. I look forward to hearing your question.
This is what's going to happen. Could we have that man removed, please? Get him out of there. Get him out. Get him out right now. It's like, let go of me. They answer the question. Answer the question, Dana. That's it. That's all you get.
Okay. Well, I'm going to bring in an extra couple cameras just in case. We'll put it at the front of our next podcast. This is what unfortunately happened to Jason Camera.
It's like, it went exactly as he said.
You called it. You call Fight of the Night every week. You called exactly what was going to happen in the press conference.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what happened. Yeah. I was yelling at him, but he didn't answer my question.
Did not answer. Yeah. So great. There's also news that Kamaru Usman, Khamzat Chimaev is the next fight for Usman, and they just haven't put the pen to paper yet. But supposedly in the coming days, we're going to hear that announcement. That will be one hell of a fight.
Yeah, it's going to be one heck of a fight because. Who's the better grappler?
Yeah.
Who's gonna like? I think we're gonna find out. Who's the better grappler? Yeah. And I think they're going to try to outdo one another when it comes to that. I can't wait for that fight because I don't know who is. Yeah. We're gonna find out though.
Yeah, the UFC has been announcing some pretty great fights, and I'm excited for the fights upcoming for sure. One fight that Dana White was really not happy to hear and that he's lost was the Francis Ngannou saga has finally had a conclusion. He's signed with the PFL. Loved that. The PFL has got him. The cool thing about the PFL signing was that he's getting to be the ambassador for Africa. He's getting to be the ambassador for this heavyweight division, and they're getting him a seat at the table to figure out how they're going to embark the PFL into Africa. And it sounds like Ngannou can't be happier. He was able to get some huge sponsorship. He said he had to walk away from $1 million sponsorship because the UFC would not allow it under their strict rules. And he said he's so thrilled. And he also came out and said this week that he doesn't understand why Dana's being such a jerk to him and why he's saying so many terrible things about him in the media. Because he shouldn't. I'm just trying to do the best for my career, and this is the best. And lots of controversy over it, but I was quite surprised to hear Dana White's throwing so much shade on him. And but it looks like Ngannou is super thrilled with the deal he's got with PFL.
And as he should be, because he worked very hard for this. But this is that's the MO of Dana White. Yeah. If you're not with me, then you're against me. I'm going to try to ruin you, or at least sully what others think about you, right? I'm just going to put it out there. I'm going to make sure that you don't get what you want because you wouldn't do what I told you to do.
Yeah.
And then that's just the way he does his business, right?
Yeah.
Or he'll banish you like he did to Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson and never talk about you again, even though he's one of the greatest mixed martial arts fighters we've ever freaking seen.
Yeah.
Ever. But that's how he likes to do business. That's what he does. It's like, if you're not part of our product, then you're garbage, and I'm going to try to make sure that people know that, or that you agree, or you're this, or you're that, or the other thing. It's like, whatever I can make up just to tarnish your brand, that's what I'm going to do. Right? That's what he does.
Well, I'm hoping I can say a few more things in the coming weeks so you can get that anger really, really, really high. And in that press conference, you do it and you say exactly what's on your mind and hold them to task. Tell them they screwed up. They should have given the UFC 291 card to us instead of UFC 289. Dana, don't be such a bully. I need to find some ways to get that anger out of you and have this press conference and confrontation happen.
Yeah. Well, again, the confrontation happens. Then he'll just he'll try to interrupt me. I'll shout him down like I always do. Then it's like, get him out of here. It's like, I'm not leaving. That's a damn question. It's like, and then that just breaks down, and everybody's like, oh, wow, who's the crazy person over
there? Yeah. Did you catch the exchange at the Jake Paul Nate Diaz press conference? Did you hear anything about that or see it?
No, I didn't see it. But isn't Nate still having to deal with that thing in New Orleans? Charges.
Yeah, he still has to. But this had nothing to do with that. I guess one of Jake Paul's friends, I think he said it was, said that, hey Nate, where's your brother Nick? That pussy. If he fought me, I'd knock his ass out. And he said a bunch of stuff like that. And Nate got a little bit perturbed because he's like, hey, shut up. That's my brother. Don't be an idiot. And they had a bit of an exchange in the press conference. And it just, you reminded me of that when you said there's a possibility of this happening here in Vancouver. So I'll put a post up online. You can take a look at it. It's a funny little exchange. I think Jake Paul ended up firing the guy the next day, I hear.
Yeah, well, you know what? Yeah, because it's about me, then you made it about you. Oh, that was pretty cool. No. I see it. When is that fight supposed to happen between Jake and Nate?
I think it's August sometime. August, mid-August, I think it is.
Okay, so he gets to beat up yet another retired 40-year-old man. So that's pretty cool. Now, honestly, in your honest opinion, do you think Jake Paul just wins again, or does Nate actually have a chance?
Well, I like Jake is so much bigger. Like I don't know what he walks. I don't know what he walks into the ring like for a fight against Diaz, but geez, like he's gonna outweigh him by a lot, and that's gonna be a huge advantage. Um, I think Diaz has a really good shot, but he's 40. He's not been a boxer. Geez, like, it's quite a disadvantage to try to come in at that age in a sport that you're, not a pro in and try to beat a guy that's continuously doing it for the past few years. I mean, he's not leveling the playing field ever. Other than Tommy Fury who beat him, he's just he continues to skew it so he can win these fights, and I wouldn't be surprised if Jake Paul wins.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised either. Like you said, he's skewing the playing field to his advantage, which is what you should do since he's the one putting the fights together. So he's actually in the monetary advantage all the time. The only thing that I'm very happy about is that Nate's getting paid.
Nate's probably making more from this fight than he did for even the Conor McGregor fights, probably.
Okay, and then again, that's so horrible to hear.
Yeah.
That you're gonna make more money than the Conor McGregor fight, and this is basically like a charity event. Like, what? How?
Yeah.
And on top of that, I'm glad the Pauls are doing this because it's just throwing a lot of shade right at Dana White's feet, saying, "Yeah, I can pay them this, and you can't." Really?
Yeah.
Really? And I hope he continues to do that, just to show him it's like, you guys deserve more money than this. Look what I can do.
Yeah.
These don't even count for anything.
There is a story online currently right now. I haven't read the full details, but I have read part of it. And it's saying that because of this takeover endeavor of the WWE, the UFC has had to disclose some of their financials. So I think this article is on Bloody Elbow. And the financials show that the UFC made $1.14 billion in 2022. The fighter pay that they've given out in 2022 was 13% of the revenue. 13%. The NHL has a mandatory rule that's 50-50. The athletes, the hockey players get 50% of the overall revenue. Many of the sports have a very close 50-50 type of revenue sharing program. 13% of the UFC, what they bring in goes to the fighters. So that's definitely the worst out of any MMA promotion. And really tough to see that that's all they're getting for, putting their lives on the line every time they step into the cage.
But here's where the significance difference is between UFC and all the other professional leagues. All of those players are represented by a union.
Yeah.
Fighters are not.
Yeah.
There you go. And so like when you look at it like that, it's like, so are you trying to tell me that you guys having a union wouldn't be to your benefit? It was to their benefit. That's why they got a 50-50 split. And that's why you guys only get 13%.
Yeah. Unfortunately, most guys know that if they form a union, they're never going to fight in the UFC again, and there's always that sort of hanging over their head. So it just has not ever come together because the UFC has that type of clout and can do whatever they want to do.
Yeah. Now here would be the thing that would actually have to happen all at once. They would all have to agree. All fighters on the roster, all of them at the same time saying, "Oh no, we're going to do this union thing." Now, what do you want to do?
Yeah.
If they all did it all together, if they all came together, UFC would be like, "Oh, we're in trouble." They would be in trouble. If all the fighters on the roster said, "No, we're going to make this union thing," go for it. Just because, like, without us, you don't have a product.
Yeah, I'm wondering if there's anything in any of the contracts that stipulates that they can't join union. I don't know if that's illegal under American law or anything, but I wonder if there's anything there. But the UFC is so good at promoting that they could get rid of every single guy off this roster, and within a year they could have us believing that they've been able to somehow tap into some other source and get the fighters that are better than the guys that they have. And they would just sort of elevate the slap fighter guys, and they would elevate guys from all corners of the world and bring them in and promote the hell out of them and make you believe that these are the best guys. They have that ability. And unfortunately, there's millions of guys that are willing to fight for next to nothing. There's guys that are willing to enter the cage and fight for a couple $100, on a Saturday night at their local bar. It's a tough thing for fighters, but I sure wish one day we will be able to see a union formalized and see better fighter pay, and we'll see less guys like Ngannou and Diaz leaving because they won't have to. They'll get paid great money and they won't have to search it elsewhere for some boxing matches against YouTubers and crap like this.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, because they're not even the fighters aren't even getting 25% of that. It's not even a quarter. It's not even 15%. It's 13%, man. I guess you know what, you buy these organizations to make money, and clearly that's what Endeavor's doing now. Clearly, but at the same time, it sucks if you're the fighter trying to make your way, and then knowing it's all right, well, I got 4 good fights. If I lose 4, I'm out. And so you have that sort of pressure too. And then also too, now you also have to now climb the ladder. And there's no guarantee that you're going to get your title shot right away. Because look at what happened to Charles Oliveira. Had to win 14 straight or something before he finally was I guess we're going to have to let him fight for the title now. My goodness. It's not the same, and it's not fair for every fighter. Every fighter gets treated differently. Some get more respect. Some fighters get to do whatever the heck they want, regardless of what they do in the public eye, like Conor McGregor, because I can make this much for the company, right? Yeah. So it's Dana White has the luxury of picking and choosing who he likes and who he doesn't like.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Well, man, this was a great discussion for a Victoria Day long weekend, holiday Monday. But you're on permanent vacation, so it didn't matter. And thanks for stepping up and doing this today. This was one of my most fun conversations we've ever had. I think it was a really good podcast episode, and appreciate it as always. Enjoy the big sweep tonight and tomorrow, and I guess we'll get together in June to see some finals basketball. Denver against Miami.
Yes, I can't wait for that. And I think I have my room over there. So I'm going to be doing some sweeping. And man, I'm looking forward to the game, but more importantly, I'm looking forward to the finals that are coming up here, because these series are over.
Say hello to the Uber Eats grandma that delivers your dinner tonight. And I'm sure, we'll do a little texting. Most games, either one of us is on a little bit of a delay, so we don't get to text back and forth as much as we like. But I think I'll be watching this game in real time tonight. But anyway, enjoy your Uber Eats, enjoy the basketball, and I'm sure we'll talk to you very soon.
Yep, sounds good, my friend. Enjoy the game. Talk later.
Okay, thanks, Chase. Bye for now. Okay, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in to another episode of the Complete Sports Media Podcast. Thanks so much for all the support lately, all the great feedback we've been getting, lots of comments, lots of likes, lots of subscribers. It's been awesome. Really appreciate it. Really starting to get some traction, and thank you very much. I just wanted to make a couple notes before I hang up for the day. I do want to mention that the NHL conference finals are in full swing. It's been amazing. All 4 games so far in the conference finals have went to overtime and have been won in overtime. First time in NHL history that's ever happened. Incredible to see that 4 overtime game the other night, and to see the teams emerging. It looks like Florida Panthers and Las Vegas Golden Knights will be, most likely meeting in the Stanley Cup final. They're both up 2-0, and for the other teams to win 4 out of the next 5, it's highly unlikely. But it's been fun. I hope you're enjoying them as much as I have been. Incredible to see how close these teams are, and heartbreaking for Dallas. And it's just been crazy to see how close these 2 organizations are. These 4 organizations are to each other, just separated just by a goal here, 1 save there. I'm sort of looking at Sergei Bobrovsky as the Conn Smythe winner this year, and probably taking the Florida Panthers to a Stanley Cup victory. But it's been so crazy and mixed up this playoffs that you just never know what's going to happen. But I hope you're enjoying the NHL playoffs as much as I am. For any of your soccer fans, incredible to see Man City win their 3rd straight Premier League title, 5th out of the last 6 years. And this is just a juggernaut. What a party they had in Manchester. And incredible success. After Manchester United was so good for so many years, and Man City had to just chip away, and finally got up there half a dozen years ago. And now they've just been the absolute class of the Premier League, and incredible to see. A little sad that the F1 had to be canceled this past weekend. Was really looking forward to 3 weeks in a row to see the F1, but the Italian Grand Prix was canceled due to some very heavy flooding. The race at Imola will not take place. Hundreds of people had to be evacuated from their homes. There was a couple of deaths, and they said it was very unsafe. And the emergency response people had been stretched to their limit, and F1 didn't want to have to put more onto them to bring people to this event, and they had to cancel. Doesn't look like it will be made up, unfortunately, off the schedule. But that was a bit of one of the only real disappointing moments of this past weekend in sports. I hope you enjoyed Michael Block as much as I did. Hope you said a little goodbye to Jim Brown, and go online, get some Jimmy freaking Butler shirts, and let's see everybody sport them over the next little while. You can wear it for years too, because Jimmy Butler, I think, is going to keep this Miami Heat team up at the top of this league for years to come. So love you guys lots. Want to thank our partners and sponsors. I want to thank Anchor.fm, Verbero, Pampas Impossibilities, and Forever Living. Appreciate your support as always. Go to our website. You can purchase products at a very discounted rate as always. And as I said, thanks for the support. Love you. Take care of yourself. Have a great week ahead, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.